See about 100 dudes coming back. What about my boy? Wait, Wouldn't it be beautiful, man? And white people start asking you questions then. What are they saying? What are they talking about? What's going on? Rich, you got any idea? What are they doing? There's 100 of them. What are they planning? Anything? I'd like to go, shh. Pretend like I know what's happening, right? Keep it down, keep it down. I think you better get back in your room, sir.
Richard Pryor talking about his last trip to Africa and one of 5 new movies we'll review this week on At the Movies. And across the aisle from me is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And across the aisle from me, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. Now, in addition to the Richard Pryor film, we'll also be reviewing Testament, about a California family trying to survive a nuclear holocaust, The Dead Zone, a psychic thriller starring Christopher Walken, also the Osterman Weekend, a spy thriller directed by Sam Peckinpah. But first, Roger begins with Deal of the Century.
Deal of the Century is a comedy about the arms race and about the fly-by-night salesmen who sell new and used weapons to anybody who has enough cash. And the movie stars Chevy Chase as a guy who's trying to make a living. He'll go anywhere. He'll deal with anybody as long as it means unloading a few more white rifles or a truckload of grenades. In this scene, Chevy has an argument with his partner, played by Gregory Hines. They're disagreeing over Hines' plans to blow up an air show.
Ray! Ray! Ray!
The F-19S is flying.
Guess what? Your friend says he's going to blow up the arms show.
What?
He wants to talk to you.
Is that you, Ray?
Hey! Is that you, Ed?
So is this for real? You going to blow up the arms show or what?
That's right, Ed.
Anything I can do to change your mind?
I have no choice.
Ray, we're letting $1 million slide here. I mean, you can't find that kind of money in the streets, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, Ed, no matter what happens, I love you, man.
There's other people in the trailer here, Ray.
I love them, too.
I'll tell them.
In addition to the action sequences, the movie is also a satire attacking a large missile manufacturing company and the way they advertise their products. Here's a sample commercial.
I know I could always be good.
Peacemaker, the world's most advanced pilotless aircraft. It's soft. It's rough. We could play with it.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank, I'm sure you can see that we're trying for an institutional approach here to underplay the idea that we're selling weapons of death, even though that is the business we're in.
Let's understand something before we go any further. We sell to dictators, military hunters, generals, presidents, premiers, who don't rent automobiles, eat cat food, or get headaches. Now, what they do is buy weapons. Ostensibly those weapons that shoot the fastest and the farthest and kill more for less. We're in a battle to sell this plane, gentlemen. And the enemy is not Moscow. The enemy is Rockwell, Northrop, Lockheed, McDonnell Douglas, Grumman, and the rest of our worthy competitors, foreign and domestic.
Well, that kind of seriousness goes back and forth with those ridiculous commercials, and the cynical humor there, and also in that speech is supposed to bring back, I think, memories of Dr. Strangelove. But this movie is such a mess, it doesn't deserve that comparison. Even in a comedy, I think you got to have a plot that makes sense and characters who have just a little bit of consistency. Deal of the Century is such a complete hodgepodge of styles and stories, such a confusing mixture of strange deals and strange motivations that I finally gave up trying to make any sense out of it at all. The movie was directed by William Friedkin, who's made a lot of good movies like The French Connection and The Exorcist, but he missed the boat this time.
Yes, I think he did. I think this is a case, just what you were referring to, of where you try to do two things, make a serious statement and be funny at the same time, and you wind up doing neither. The Chevy Chase, aren't I a silly goose character, is totally inappropriate for the serious part of the film, which is saying to us that arms salesmen, weapon salesmen have no morals. Now, we know that. So you get a message you already know, and you get a comedy style that is more appropriate for Chevy Chase's vacation movie or something.
Right. Another thing I missed in the movie was the fact that there wasn't a strong plot to pull us through, especially in a comedy. Especially in a comedy, you've got to have something that engages the characters and gives them things they're supposed to do so that we can laugh at the fact that they're not doing them. If the movie is totally anarchic, the comedy doesn't have anything to push against.
If he were just going for that one deal all the way through the movie, that would be the kind of hook you're looking for, but there's a lot of shimmies all the way along the way there. Richard Pryor is next in his favorite role, Richard Pryor.
You wake up in your garage, under your car. Dude, dogs be looking at you.
In the last few years, Richard Pryor has played a variety of lackluster roles in mindless movies. I'm thinking of pictures like The Toy and Superman 3, which is why we always look forward to a Richard Pryor concert film with Pryor playing Pryor. And Richard Pryor Here and Now lives up to our expectations. It's almost as good as his two previous concert films, and that makes it hilarious. Pryor is foul-mouthed as usual, but this time, the focus of his concert is that he tells us he has quit alcohol and other drugs for 7 months. So in this film, he really criticizes drunk behavior.
I don't know what it is that make drunk people want to talk. But you can bet if somebody's drunk, he gonna talk. You know what I mean? You ever be driving, the police ease up behind you, put them bright lights on you, and your brain start going, don't worry about it, just be cool, just get it together, you're ready now. When they come up, say everything's fine, all right? Just say, everything's fine, everything's fine, all right. Now that's what you say in your brain, but your mouth has made up its mind. Policeman come under mine. How you feeling? Man, I used to get drunk and try to talk, but you can't never understand a drunk, and he'll explain anything to you. Police come up. What happened here? Hey! I was Wait. You wake up in your garage, under your car. Dude, dogs be looking at you.
This film was taped in August at 3 sold-out concerts in New Orleans. The crowd obviously loves them, and I found myself laughing out loud a lot in this picture, and twice uncontrollably. That doesn't happen very often when we go to the movies. Let's face it, Richard Pryor is at his best playing Richard Pryor. This is a wildly funny movie.
Not only is it funny, but it shows a lot of growth on Richard Pryor's part. If you go back to his first two movies, especially the second one, which was made after his accident while he was still trying to get it back together, there's a lot of nervousness in that second concert movie, a lot of defensiveness, and a lot of stuff going on. In this film, the man is at ease. He is absolutely the master of his instrument, and it's a joy to watch him work. He reminds me of people like Will Rogers, Lenny Bruce, Mort Saul, Woody Allen, more than comedians. He's becoming a social commentator.
Well, what he does that I think is so neat is he animates everything that he feels in the world is against him. Now, that ranges from social commentary, let's say white people or the white establishment, to his own body. He talks about every part of his body attacking him, his dog attacking him, the wind in Chicago, he turns into a person that attacks him and waits till he gets out in the middle of the street, then blows on him. I mean, that is an original, you know, remember Woody Allen with all the gadgets that hated him and he could, this is what Richard Pryor does. All the elements in the world, more than gadgets.
But you know, but not paranoid. He does it with love. I mean, he does it in such a way that we can identify. He includes us as part of his humanity.
But he's a real artistic comedian. I think
we like this movie.
We do like it.
Our next movie is named Testament, and I think this is also one of the best movies of the year. It tells the story of an ordinary suburban family, mom, dad, 3 kids, piano lessons, the whole routine, and then what happens to this family after a nuclear war breaks out, after the bomb falls. Their little town doesn't get a direct hit, but radiation poisoning is killing people day by day. And Jane Alexander stars as the mother of the family. This is her finest movie performance. I think it deserves an Academy Award nomination. Here she is after the bomb falls in a heartbreaking talk with her daughter who wants to know what making love would be like.
When you love someone, you want to be as close to them as you can get. You make love, and you feel almost like the same body. Like it was intended. You have a space, and that person fills it up. We would fight. We wouldn't listen to each other. We'd miss thoughts. We'd miss goodbyes. But sometimes, most times, there was this feeling, and I couldn't wait for him to be here with me. Everyone's always alone, and yet there can be this gift, this making of miracles. You.
Not for me.
It's really a powerful scene, and even more powerful in context, which is that this little community has lost contact, even by ham radio, with most of the rest of the world, and they realize that things have just stopped, and the food is running out, and they're burying people in mass graves, and yet trying to hold their lives together. It's really a strong film, and that's Roxanne Azal, and that scene is the daughter. Seeing Testament is a devastating emotional experience. Both times I've seen this film, the audiences were left silent and speechless after the film was over. But it's not a violent film. It doesn't show a lot of graphic detail. It's about human relationships and behavior, and about how this community tries to stick together and do the best that it can in a situation that grows more hopeless every day. We're going to hear a lot about nuclear war movies this month, especially after ABC telecasts its After the Bomb movie the day after in a couple of weeks on November the 20th. Testament is a different kind of movie. It's about the human dimensions of the end of society.
I had a split reaction to this film. I think the reason why audiences are left silent at the end, because the ending is very powerful. The ending, the last few minutes are very powerful and in a surprising way. And I'm not saying there's a surprise ending. I'm saying that they treated the subject in a fresh way, and I admired that. At the same time, before that, I really found fault with the film for dramatically laying on everybody suffering one scene after another in an unremitting manner.
What do you expect after the war drops?
Let me tell you what I...
A day off?
I felt that you were going to ask that.
Okay.
What I wanted in here, and you're going to think I'm nuts maybe, is almost a joker. A naysayer, a black comedy, a little, you mentioned Dr. Strangelove, a little taste of that. Not because that's maybe the way it would happen, but within this movie, when you've got everybody suffering, kids dying, a brain-damaged child at the gas station where the gas is running out, they just lay on too much, and dramatically it would have helped the film to have another kind of voice.
I disagree with you. I think you want to make a different film.
Not a different film.
I think so.
A better film of this kind. A better film of this kind.
Has upbeat things in it, but they have to do with people trying to find the courage to see some kind of dignity in the situation that they're in. I think it would be an obscenity in this film to add the kind of subplot that you're talking about. I think it has nothing to do with the message of this film, which is that once the bomb drops, it's all very well and good, but what happens then? And the fact is, if you're a mother and you're looking at your kids dying, you don't need some joker to come in and give relief to a movie critic.
No, I'm telling you that obviously, I am not saying that they're dying. No.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm taking the movie emotionally, and you're taking it intellectually, and that's the difference in our approach.
That's not true, because emotionally, how did I have that emotional reaction at the end?
Well, I don't know.
Same guy had it.
It's your reaction. You tell me.
Same guy had both reactions. Coming up next at the movies, Christopher Walken plays a man who can shake hands with you and sense your past and your future.
Caffeine-free Coke says taste them all. If you want the best taste in a caffeine-free cola, taste all the caffeine-free. Judge them all against caffeine-free Coca-Cola. But don't stop there. Judge caffeine-free Coke against the tastes you know. Regular colas with caffeine. Taste them all. For true, refreshing, big cola taste. We'll bet you'll take home the taste that's next to Coke itself. Caffeine-free Coke is it.
How do you recognize an Almay face? Is it the dramatic eyes, the healthy blush, the sexy lips? Of course. But Almay's more than beautiful. It's gentle and Almay pure. Because there are times when every woman can have sensitive skin. That's why Almay is hypoallergenic, 100% fragrance-free. You know, I think Almay loves my face.
Almay Hypoallergenic, because every woman can have sensitive skin.
The Dead Zone is another psychic thriller about a person with second sight, the ability to sense the past or the future. Ho-hum, right? Well, wrong. The Dead Zone is something special because it contains a superb performance by Christopher Walken, one of our finest young actors in the role of Johnny Smith, a high school teacher who has had a bad accident, falls into a coma for 5 years, and comes out of it with the ability to just touch someone's hand and sense their past, their future, and even what's going on in the present that they don't know about. Here he is in the hospital, having just come out of his coma. He doesn't yet know his special power.
Your daughter's screaming. The house is burning. Your daughter's in the house. It's not too late. Your daughter's screaming.
That scene is mildly frightening, but mainly because it shows a child in jeopardy. We've seen that sort of thing before. This scene actually, if you think about it, is as much a trick on us as it is on him. At first we think he's on fire, then we find out he isn't. But again, what we haven't seen before in a film like this is a characterization so rich in pain and confusion as that of Christopher Walken. Through him, we believe that we are actually watching a man troubled with his special gift. Walken does this not by screaming, not by ripping up the scenery, but simply by wandering around the world of this movie with a mixture of sadness and fear and hope on his face and in his body. I didn't much believe in the concept of the Dead Zone, but I certainly did believe in Christopher Walken's Johnny Smith. It's one of the best performances I've seen in a year, and that's from Mr. Intellectual here. I'm not so heartless.
Well, wait till you hear from Mr. Emotional, because I think I liked it even more than you did, and for the same reason, basically. In a lot of these, I guess you'd call them science fiction or fantasy or supernatural films, the gimmick takes first place, and everybody is affected by the gimmick, or everybody reacts to the gimmick. In this film, the film is about the Christopher Walken character.
Yes.
Because we believe him, then we accept everything else, and it becomes an emotional story rather than figuring out all of the subtleties of past, present.
I didn't accept everything else. It wasn't that strong for me, but I will remember this performance.
Christopher Walken and some other good performances in the movie too.
And this is the kind of performance that never gets an Academy Award nomination, and maybe it should.
You're right. Next at the movies, the Osterman Weekend, about a man who discovers that his best friends are his deadliest enemies.
You were setting us up. Why? We're in prime killing time.
Everybody's got a diet right. It doesn't matter who you are. It's gonna be a tough fight. So give yourself the greatest taste.
So give yourself the greatest taste. Diet Right. It's the one that's salt-free.
Everybody's got a diet right. Everybody's got a diet right.
Yeah.
Our next movie is named The Osterman Weekend, and it's one of the most insultingly senseless movies I've seen in a long time. This one makes Deal of the Century look logical. The movie stars Rutger Hauer as a TV talk show host whose friends gather at his farmhouse once a year for a weekend. But then Hauer is contacted by John Hurt, as a CIA guy with a British accent, who says all the friends are agents for the other side, for the KGB. Well, that sets off a paranoid cat-and-mouse game during the weekend, as friends go after friends, and Hurt watches everything on a TV monitor.
Dick?
Things could be worse, right?
Right. I see you want to send him a message. Let's wait. Betty, get out.
Dick?
This is our deal, Petrov. Nothing happens to Tanner. They've already been consulted. Just remember, we're calling the shots.
What the hell's he trying to pull?
I don't know. We better get out of here.
Loves me. This I know. For the Bible.
We're all gonna die.
tells me
Get out!
so.
Come on.
Little ones too.
Betty, get out! Come on! Move now! Come on! Come on! Betty, come on! Betty, come on!
I actually found myself getting angry during this movie. Not angry at the characters or even at the story. They're just raw materials borrowed from a bestseller by Robert Ludlum. But angry at the director, Sam Peckinpah, and also at the studio, which edited the film for him after he had put in his final cut. Peckinpah has made a lot of good movies, including The Wild Bunch, but he seems to have directed this movie almost indifferently. Nothing makes any sense. The plot's an impenetrable maze of little bits and pieces that never fit together. Part of it's satire, part of it's just raw violence, part of it's political, part of it's who knows what it is. The movie's almost arrogant in the way it refuses to communicate. What a mess, and what a disappointment. And Peckinpah says, well, it was edited after I gave it to the studio. They made some changes in it, but even so, I can't imagine that it began as anything either, because I sat there, I was totally baffled. I was thinking, you know, did I miss the key?
No, me too. There's something, you have this weekend, and then you have this character, this TV political talk show host, who's also trying to get Burt Lancaster, the head of the CIA. So you've got a double level here that is not made clear. It's just not made clear, and it is a very frustrating film. It is also sort of a mean-spirited film in the sense that the three guys getting together for the weekend are really all contemptible people in their professions, a doctor, a financier. They're just lousy people. I don't know what his point was in putting this on. He said something about television satire. Maybe he's trying to do some parody of 60 Minutes or something. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't know. I sat there and I was totally baffled. I didn't know what it was about. It didn't make me feel good. I didn't like the people. I wasn't having a good time when I left. I wanted to look at the press book to see if I missed anything. The press book was just as confused as I was.
Okay. Well, so much for the Osterman Weekend. Let's review our reactions to the 5 films on this show. We both turned thumbs down on William Friedkin's Deal of the Century with Chevy Chase. It has a confused tone. And we both liked Richard Pryor's latest concert film, Richard Pryor Here and Now. And we split, only in degree though, on the nuclear Holocaust film Testament with Jane Alexander and William Devane. Roger went wild for it, thinks it's one of the best films of the year. I was moved only by its very powerful ending. And 2 surprising thumbs up for The Dead Zone, the thriller featuring Christopher Walken's superb performance. And we were both disappointed by Sam Peckinpah's spy thriller, The Osterman Weekend.
So, Richard Pryor for both of us, Testament more for me than you.